rear their children to be, and this is what an artist is supposed to rear its art to be?
Those are beautiful questions, and I have like three things that I'm thinking about that I think are like right on point with what you're talking about. So the first thing I think is that question of a relationship. Like, what are we talking about here? Is this like a teacher-student relationship? Is this a parent-child relationship? A lot of people think that he intentionally antagonizes his audience, or that he anticipates the audience's failure. Like, people have written about Mike Kelly, and they think that he, and these are people that know a lot about him, a lot more than I'll ever know about them. So I'm not arguing with what they're saying, but this is what they say, and I don't feel completely comfortable with it. What they say is that Mike Kelly thinks that everyone's like dumb, and that they're going to misinterpret and fail to grasp his work. And so he anticipates that failure, and then he morphs his work accordingly. That is a very well-reasoned and very well-supported argument that many people make. Of late, I have been really interested in the question of like, well, but what else? What if, whether intentionally or not, I'm never gonna actually know because he's not alive. And even if he was alive and I could interview him, he probably would still sort of like loop around and not, he would evade the question. But is he, I don't actually think the kind of didacticism that other people attribute to him is what's really going on. He may well think that people are going to fail to grasp what he's trying to say or trying to communicate, and he may well edit accordingly. But I also just wonder, is there some other way that he really enjoys and revels in the co-production of meaning, which is a different student-teacher relationship, or even a different, I mean, parent-child is reasonable, it's a reasonable, but I think, yeah, I think he really enjoys this sort of game-like structure that he creates. He creates these sort of bizarre and beautiful and horrible things, some of which are sort of vile. You know, like if you attended the like the opening of the mobile homestead, all of his notes were out, and I thought his notes are essential. I can't believe that his notes aren't out. I mean, he's got like pornographic drawings that he's done with regard to his plans for the mobile homestead. So what is the world in which pornographic drawings about the mobile homestead live alongside like that Home Depot craft session that people were having? That's the bizarreness that I think needs to be discussed. And so I just think that there's many different like weird, far out things. I mean, he's very interested in the psychedelic. He's interested in the idea of the psychedelic, the period of psychedelic movement. What is psychedelic? Psychedelic is like a radical shift, a radical sort of like reorganization. And in a lot of his writings, he talks about showing things to people so that they can sort of see them anew or see them differently, or so that they will disorient them. Like, I'm going to show this to you intentionally to disorient you so that you come to a new understanding of something, not necessarily my understanding of something, but just a new understanding of something, which is, of course, very much in keeping with lots of like 20th century traditions. But the other thing I wanted to mention was, you mentioned this idea of like living things, like are things alive? And I don't know if you've heard of a woman named Jane Bennett. She wrote a book called Vibrant Matter. She's like a vibrant materialist. She has like this new, and it's informed by lots of other people, but like one of her ways of thinking is that like everything actually has a life, and like this cup is more influential than I know. This is not just an inert object that and I just exert action on it, but that it and everything else in this room acts upon us. So I think that's an interesting way to like reread everything to do with art. But I'll leave it at that. Those are great questions, though.